guys, it's Silverwolf. Please ignore the fact that I'm currently blonde. I bleached my hair and kind of semi-fried it. I'm also going to be a little quieter because I've never properly recorded in this room with people moving around the house, so I don't know how well it's going to go. And my anxiety is kind of high. This is Spieve, by the way. My hot water bottle. It's too warm. Or not. Yeah, I'm using a hot water bottle because it's too warm. It's a bit too cold today. And my period started again. Second time in 1 month. Fun times. Today we're going to be going through the Reddit. Am I the asshole? Am I the asshole? I'm not the first person to do a video like this, I'm fully aware of the fact. But I did a video like this a while ago, months ago. But I ended up deleting all the footage because I didn't like the way it looked. I didn't enjoy the audio, the way it came out. The angles, I'm not entirely sure about yet. I have to work with what I've got in this room so far. The Reddit for Am I the Asshole now has a hitch at the end. I don't know what the hitch stands for. Am I the Asshole hitch? This is a community like Am I the Asshole fair, but what? I'm so confused. I wasn't being shown the regular Am I the Asshole thing. Okay, so now I'm on the actual thing. Oh wow, the lighting there changed really weirdly. Excuse the fact that I also have no makeup on today. I am way too lazy. I was planning to earlier, but I was way too tired. So let's get into the first one. Am I the asshole for refusing to let my sister's kids stay with me after she cancelled on me last minute? So my 29 male, my 29 male sister, 32 female, so she's the older, has 3 kids, 10, 7 and 5. Last month she asked me if I could watch them for a weekend while she and her husband went on a short anniversary trip. I agreed because I love my nieces and nephew, but I made it clear that I needed at least 2 weeks notice because I work long hours and I'd have to rearrange my schedule. Okay, fair enough. That is true if you're working, regardless of what your job is. You need a notice. I don't agree with people just throwing things on you because, oh, your family kind of thing. Fast forward to this past week, I asked my boss for time off, cleared my weekend, and stocked my house with everything the kids would need. Friday afternoon rolls around and I'm waiting for her to drop them off. Suddenly I get a text from her saying they're not coming. She decided last minute that they were going to a family-friendly resort instead and didn't need me to watch them anymore. No apology, just we'll do it another time. Oh, I already don't like that. Like, no gratitude whatsoever. I was frustrated because I had completely cleared my weekend. That's true, you could have worked those hours and got more money for yourself. Turned down plans with friends and rearranged my work schedule for this. I responded by telling her it wasn't cool to cancel on me last minute like that, especially when I went out of my way to help. Then 2 days later she called me again asking if I could watch the kids the following weekend. Apparently something came up with her original plan and she needed someone to watch them after all. I told her no, I wasn't available. She got upset and said I was being selfish and punishing her kids for something that wasn't their fault. She's not punishing the kids aren't the ones getting, what's the word? I was going to say backdrops, but that's not the word I'm looking for. The kids aren't the ones that are being asked to look after. They're not being like, hey, can you look after us for the weekend so my parents can go and bang? Like, no. The parent is asking that. It's also not being selfish whatsoever. Now she's mad at me and my parents are saying I should be more understanding because things come up when you're a parent. I don't have kids, but I feel like it's just basic respect to not cancel on someone last minute and then expect them to be available whenever you want. So am I the asshole for refusing to watch my sister's kids after she cancelled on me last minute? No, but there is an edit, so I'll read that first. Wow, I didn't expect so many not the asshole responses. Yay, we're all in agreement. Thanks everyone, I was starting to feel guilty about standing my ground, but it's good to hear that others agree. It's important to set boundaries, even with family. I love my nieces and nephew, but my time is valuable too, and I'm glad I'm not being unreasonable here. Thanks again for all the support. Yeah, no, 100% not the asshole. I don't agree and I never will agree with the whole mindset of your family so you should drop everything for me no matter what. Like obviously if there's like a funeral or something, even then it depends on the context of your relationship with that person. But like for certain things I would be like, yeah sure, you should be there for your family, no problem. But things like that where it's like, you know I'm working, you know I'm busy, you know I have a life outside of just being at your beck and call kind of thing. But to say that they're being selfish for not wanting to babysit your kids for you when you were the one who last minute cancelled on the babysitting, like what you could have done there was have them look after the kids that weekend, then have the family resort thing the next weekend. That would have fixed the whole thing. You wouldn't have had to cancel, you wouldn't be on bad terms with your brother. You know, there's easy fixes. The poster's not the asshole, and the kids aren't the ones being punished. That little line doesn't make sense to me. I also don't like there's no apology, just do it some other time, like as if it's just something that's automatically gonna come around, rather than it be like, I'm so sorry, are you able to do it any other time? It's just, we'll do it a different time. Like, no, piss off. I hate shit like that so much. Like, I'm not your servant. I'm not gonna be there for everything. Okay, this one's a bit of a weird title. Am I the asshole for excluding my brother, not my boyfriend, from my wedding because of his fun facts? Now, this heavily depends on what these fun facts are, because some people will have fun facts and they're like animal facts or something, and other people will have fun facts and they're like graphically inappropriate. And I'm betting it's the graphically inappropriate ones. I have an older brother, David, 41. David has boundary issues and was in the learning disabled classes. Okay, so I'm assuming somewhere on the spectrum of either autism or ADHD or both with the boundary issues, because that does sometimes happen. And usually they don't actually mean to do that, but it is a difficult thing to figure out, especially if the parents are like the type where, because they have learning issues or boundary issues, they just don't say no. So then they're not learning anything about boundaries, because the parents are like, oh, I don't want to say no to them. Say no to them. They need to learn. They're a child too. I know there is differences on how you should teach them certain things, but they also need to learn the same things as other children. So my parents never let him out of the home when he was a child. He has a very rough personality, and because he was never allowed to work or do anything, so in his 40s he doesn't have friends. Oh, okay. I can kind of see where this is going. He still dominates the conversation at every holiday with fun facts and goes off on those and doesn't realise no one is listening. Oh, that's actually really sad. My other siblings and I really don't like David, because my parents let him do whatever and just dominate whatever social settings we are in. That's what I was saying earlier. They're not enforcing any kind of boundaries. My older sister eloped because of David. If I remember correctly, I think eloped is like you ran off and got married and didn't tell anybody, so like no one was there for the wedding. My sister eloped because of David being my mum kept trying to find David a place at her wedding. That grammatically was a little off, but I think they were saying because the mum kept trying to find a place for David in their wedding, they just ran off and eloped. Fair enough. I'm getting married to Mel, and my youngest brother Nick is my best man. My sister, who is close to Mel, is in the bridal party. Her husband is one of my best men, and their son is a ring bearer. My wife wants a real wedding and not be forced to elope like my sister did. Fair enough. David has no place. He's not going to be invited because the first thing he did was insult the ring I got my Mel. Was his fun facts about diamonds are worthless. About how diamonds are worthless and do not resell well. Okay, you shouldn't be talking about reselling a ring at someone's being engaged and married. That's a bit strange. I do get it. They seem to be somewhere on the spectrum of not processing, or they're processing things a little slower, or just don't pick up on the cues. I should have got her a second-hand engagement ring or a coloured stone engagement ring. That's what the brother is saying. We then got a history on engagement rings and marriage tradition. We tried shutting him up, but he wouldn't, and my mum said, let the professor talk? Even at 40, she thinks my brother's fun facts are cute. No, you need to shut that down. He's not 5 anymore. This put a hard no on Mel's stance that my brother can't come to the wedding. If my parents defend him even once, they are not coming. She not having, not wedding. Like my sister. Okay, grammar's a little over the place with this. Her not having a wedding like my sister, and it's time for David to be put in his place. Oh, she's not having a wedding like my sister, and it's time for David to be put in his place. Okay, that makes more sense now. Mum called and asked about wedding planning, and I told her she wasn't involved after what happened to my sister's wedding dress shopping. And then in parentheses, Mum brought David, who told everyone his fun facts about wedding dress history. Okay, that's when my sister decided to elope. I told Mum if she and Dad wanted to come to the wedding as guests, they can, but David isn't invited. Mum didn't talk for a while. I think she started crying because my dad took over the phone call. That is a bit sad, but at the same time, if your other kids are literally having issues with one of their siblings because they don't understand boundaries that you did not... What's the word? my brain's not functioning right now. You didn't encourage or even try to teach boundary settings with him, and now it's causing problems with his own siblings. Like, you're to blame here, the mum. I told him what upset mum and said David isn't invited and mum can't be trusted to be involved in wedding planning without David tagging along. Dad said he doesn't understand why we all hate David, and I told him what is wrong with his fun facts. My dad said the boy likes to talk and there's no harm in it. The fact you're not taking on anything is a bit of a problem. I told my dad that's the thing. There is harm in David's fun facts, and now no one wants to be around him. Dad started arguing, saying stuff in defense of David, and I told Dad we are at a stalemate and I guess all three of you won't be coming to the wedding. I'm sorry, but that is how it is. I ended the conversation with my dad, and my mum has been upset, texting like a crazy person to everybody about how we all need to understand David. What I'm doing is mean. Mel feels like this whole thing is why I can't invite David or my parents. I agree that they can't even be trusted to come to my wedding without sneaking David in. Right, before I actually look at the comments, because it's not showing, for me at least, whether they got the, oh, this is only 4 hours ago, whether they got the asshole or not the asshole badge. I'm kind of torn because there's a lot of times where people will like intentionally exclude people who have like Down syndrome or something, or autism, because it's like frustrating or ruins the aesthetic. I've seen that somewhere before. That's messed up. So on one hand, I'm like, you shouldn't be excluding them because of possibly being on the spectrum. They don't specify, so I am assuming, based on what I've seen, that they may be on the spectrum somewhere. They do say that they had learning disabilities and boundary issues. But on the other hand, like I said earlier, I don't agree with the whole they're your family, you should stand by them always, because context matters. And I don't agree with just dropping anything for anyone, regardless of your blood ties to them. So on the other hand, for one thing, it is your wedding. You can invite whoever the hell you want. You could have a wedding and it's just your friends that go and none of your family members. It is all about, it's your day with your partner. You get to decide who goes. I do think this is on the parents, because they've fallen into the tropes, not the right word. I've been watching a lot of booktube stuff, so the word trope is in my head. The thing of the parents favoritizing, I'm gonna use quotations because it's not, well, they did go to disabled classes. They've favoritized the disabled child so much so that they enable a lot of detrimental behavior to themselves. It literally says they wouldn't let him out of the house. Now, I don't know if that's him as an adult or him as a child, but regardless of either, you not letting them out of the door is locking them up. Like, you've treated the house like a prison, basically, and he doesn't have any friends, so you've prevented him, the parents have prevented him from even trying to get any friends. And the whole fun facts thing, I think that became this is me fully assuming, by the way, but because of being locked in the house, not being able to have any friends, the parents clearly enabling the boundary issues and not teaching them, like, hey, for example, that person doesn't like hugs, just don't hug them, even if this person is a big hugger. You need to enforce, that's the word I was looking for. You need to enforce those. You're the parent. That is your job, to teach them things like that. Because they won't just learn it on their own. Or if they do, they might learn it the wrong way. But I think the whole keeping them in the house thing, never allowed to work or do anything, is another thing. So you're not even teaching them responsibility of like dishes, your own laundry, feeding yourself. Like, it seems like they constantly just treated him like an actual toddler, like an infant that can't do anything without them. And in his 40s, that shouldn't be happening. Like, he's always going to be your baby. He's always going to be your child. You birthed them. Or even if you didn't birth them, you're their parent, so it's always going to be your baby. For both. It should always be for the both. Oh, but he has other siblings too. Well, then for all the children you should view them as your child always, but you shouldn't treat them like they actually are children when they're not. You're not teaching them anything. Because of that, I think the parents are actually the asshole in this situation, especially because they're not seeing it from anyone else's point of view, because the fun facts seem to be negatives. They're not like, oh, by the way, did you know that red pandas do this to make themselves look bigger, even though it looks super cute, because they think it'll scare off predators, which is an actual fact. For sure, everyone knows that now. There are more negative facts, like the wedding dress one of talking about tradition, which I'm assuming would bring in the whole white purity thing and selling off your child for white dresses, and that it was, I forget what it is now, but like there's literally a whole history on how bad the initial tradition for marriage was, but it's a negative, like it would make the wife or the fiance in that regard feel like shit. The wedding ring one, oh yeah, by the way, the diamonds aren't good to resell, you won't get a lot of money for that. Why are you thinking of him selling the ring? And again, that falls back on the boundary issues and not taking cues because of the parents. I think the parents are responsible for this. I don't think everyone should just take on everything someone says simply because they're disabled. Like, obviously, I fully agree with letting them exist. You know, I wouldn't treat them differently. But I don't, it's similar to a friend. Like, just because they're going through a rough patch or something doesn't mean I'm just going to drop everything for you, or that I'm going to let you treat me like shit because you're going through a rough patch. No, I'm not going to do that for you. I'm not going to do that for family. I'm not going to do that for someone who has an issue, because that makes that an excuse rather than a reason. He's not trying to work on his boundary issues because he's 40, still living with his parents who won't let him learn or do anything. They fully enable his fun facts, and then the whole let the professor talk thing. He's not 5. He's not a child. And if your child feels like they need to run off to have a wedding or completely uninvite you and your child, there's an issue. And I don't think it's the people who want to get married who's the issue. But what does the comment say? Mum took David to the wedding dress shopping. I would have walked out the moment I saw him, not the asshole. Yeah, why would you even bring him to the wedding dress shopping? That's usually for like the girls. And I know, like, if you have a gay best friend or something, or just a general best friend who's a guy, and you want them to come, that's a bit different. But like bringing your child, she doesn't have a good relationship, like Mel, I think is her name, or I don't know what kind of relationship they have with David, but they clearly don't like them. Why would you bring them? That usually is genuinely like a girl's thing of the mother-in-law and mother, and then the sisters or sister-in-laws. It's usually just a girl's thing. Mel was there and she said it was awful for my sister. They cut the day short. My mum got mad at my sister saying David said he wanted to come and that was supposed to make it okay. No, you're enabling him far too much. I'm really curious as to what fun facts he managed to come up with for the history of wedding dresses that managed to upset people. Now, admittedly, I'm not fond of all knowledge. I don't think that's spelled right. But I certainly don't have enough knowledge about the history of wedding dresses to give me more than 5 minutes of material, and none of it would upset anybody, so I've no idea what he could have managed that. It was how the bridesmaids used to dress like the brides so people would steal her and ward off bad demons with the veil. And they do the same thing for the groom, so no one, but there was also, if you were like really rich or like a big family kind of thing, some people would try and like steal the bride for like ransom and things like that, so they would also dress like the bride so that no one would know who the bride was, and the bridesmaids were fully aware of the fact that they could die that night or that day or get kidnapped. Like, it's messed up, but yeah, that would have upset me if someone brought that up. Colour of wedding gowns by traditional Japanese standards, and another trying to include him in the conversation with the other bridesmaids. Isn't that fascinating? That is a fun fact, I'm sorry, but I'm here for it. It's a fun fact when you're going into that kind of thing, but if someone literally came with me wedding dress shopping and said, fun fact, your bridesmaids were supposed to dress exactly like you, so that if someone tried to kill you or a demon tried to possess you, they'd find the wrong person, that would upset me. I don't want to think about my bridesmaids possibly getting kidnapped or killed or something like that. Yeah, that makes sense as well. Even if it isn't offensive, it could just be exhausting and annoying if he's constantly going on a whirlwind and no one else is able to get a word in. Because they also mentioned that he takes over all conversations. Like, if you're never getting a word in, it would just be frustrating. It's been consistent behaviour for 40 plus years. Then chances are it's absolutely exhausting and annoying. Being autistic or having whatever other disability doesn't inherently mean one is exempt from learning that sometimes behaviours aren't appropriate in certain settings. I think that most folks would happily place a bet that the brother's issue is autism, but the fact that OP doesn't use that word would imply it was never identified or discussed among the family, probably because the parents may be the type that would be like, they would see autism as an issue, but my son could never be an issue, kind of thing. That I could see that happening, just solely based on the fact that they haven't. My mother is back in her room. Just solely from the fact that they haven't even tried to enforce learning about boundaries and all that stuff. Autism isn't his personality. Others will experience it as a set of characteristics or traits that come more naturally to him than to neurotypical people. But it is still something he could learn to mask if he thought there was a benefit to doing so. The parents have failed all their children. Yep. And it's really sad to see OP resenting his brother foremost and his parents secondarily, when it is primarily the parents' responsibility to have provided their son with the support he wanted to negotiate the level of masking required to get what he wants out of life. It sounds like the brother wants to be social and involved in the sibling's life, which also makes it really sad. So the parents should have helped him understand how to negotiate his own needs with the needs of others, to try and achieve the goal of having other people alright with him being around. At the same time, OP is only giving us some of the picture, so it's hard to know the extent of his brother's challenges and whether he would have been able to achieve his own goals. OP isn't an asshole for not wanting his brother at his wedding, but 95% of his frustration should be towards his parents. The brother is a victim in this situation as well. I do agree with that 100%. Plan your wedding, tell your parents it's 1 week later than it is, enjoy your day, then tell them you already got married. It's time for no contact. I don't know about no contact, but overall, for me, the parents are the asshole in this post, and I do think all the kids are the victims in this situation because the parents refused to teach him anything. They just enabled everything he decided to do. I'm just putting on some music so it's not completely silent in here. But yeah, parents are the asshole for this one. Am I the asshole for taking back a family heirloom from my daughter-in-law before the wedding? My family has 2 heirlooms that we give to a bride or groom when they marry. For the men, it's a set of cufflinks, and for the women, it's a bracelet. My oldest son and my oldest sister are married, and their spouses wore the bracelet and cufflinks at their weddings. It's actually kind of cute. This tradition is essentially our family's way of saying we're accepting you into the family. Fair enough, that's cute. When my future daughter-in-law got engaged, I gave her the bracelet and explained that it's a family heirloom, expressing how meaningful it would be if she wore it at the wedding. I mentioned that she could wear it during the reception if she preferred not to wear it in the ceremony. It's fair, because if some people are very particular with jewelry on their with their dresses and stuff. It's a white jade bracelet, and I shared its significance with her. Now, with the wedding only a few months away, there's a problem. My daughter has been getting to know my future daughter-in-law, and she recently came to me saying that my future daughter-in-law thinks the bracelet is ugly and has been complaining about it. She even showed me texts where my future daughter-in-law said some hurtful things about me, calling me a controlling ass for giving her the bracelet. I think this was hurtful, and it feels like a complete rejection, especially since she knows why it's important. When I asked my son, he said he didn't know anything about her feelings on this. Since she clearly doesn't want or respect the bracelet, I asked for it back. That's when things got messy. She made a big deal about how I was excluding her from the family by taking it back. Now she's pissed and calling me a jerk. My son also thinks I'm a jerk for taking it back, even after I showed him what she said. People are divided over this, saying that by taking it back it implies I don't see her as family or trust her with the heirloom. This is so dumb. Well, I don't really have heirlooms, so I would never have that kind of significance. Also, why is everything to do with weddings in this one? I wouldn't really get that kind of significance because I don't have one, so I wouldn't really, on my end, I wouldn't get it. But if I were getting married and my fiance's mum gave me a bracelet saying, it's a family heirloom, we give it to the fiancés to represent being accepted into the family. They usually wear it during the wedding at some point. You can either wear it during the actual, the vow exchange thing or the reception, up to you. I would, regardless of what I thought of it, it could have been the most ugliest pink or orange bracelet in the world. I'd still wear it because, 1, it's respectful. 2, you're not being asked to keep it forever. It's literally passed down. You're not keeping it, and it's literally them saying, hey, you're part of the family, you're officially part of the family. If you then, Regardless of your feelings on how pretty the piece of jewellery is, if the whole point of you getting it is them saying, hey, we welcome you into the family, don't complain, just use it. Like, use it for that day. It won't, either during the vows or during the reception. Use it, because it's disrespectful not to in that regard. It's not going to kill you to wear a fucking bracelet, come on. But I think what pisses me off even more is the fact that she went to her sister-in-law to complain about how ugly the bracelet is, knowing it's her family's heirloom, and then calling the mum a controlling ass for giving her the bracelet. I'm assuming that that's referring to that you have to wear it during the wedding, either during the vows or during a reception. That's not being controlling. It's an heirloom for a specific reason. It is used in a specific way, and that would be really hurtful too. And then adding on to that the son doesn't seem to care for the, like, even if I wasn't all that fussed on the heirloom thing, I would be annoyed, I would be pissed off at my fiance for insulting it and insulting my mum over a bracelet. Like, it's so stupid. But because of the significance of it being an acceptance into the family, her taking it back does imply that she no longer accepts her into the family. However, I'm on her side here. I'm on the mum's side here, because I wouldn't want to see you as part of my family if you're gonna insult me and insult a family heirloom. It's not as if it's my jewelry that I was like, hey, I think this would be cute for your dress for the wedding. No, it has a lot more significance than that. I don't think this mum's the asshole. But we'll look at the comments. Info: if she had simply come to you and said, hey, I appreciate the sentiments so much, but this really isn't my style and I don't want to wear it at the wedding, how would you have reacted? That would have been fine. My own mother didn't wear it, but it had it on the family table. I probably would have just worn it or asked if my son wanted to wear it. So, like, she's literally saying that she wouldn't have been mad if she was like, hey, it's just not for me. There was such an easy solution to that. There we go. There's someone else that commented immediately after that. My something blue, so the heirloom, was a vintage brooch that didn't go with my ensemble, the dress. So I pinned it to my slip underneath the dress. The bracelet might look lovely worked into the bouquet. This bride lacks an imagination. That is a good point. Especially a jade white necklace. Oh, that would have looked gorgeous, like around the handle of the bouquet. Oh, that would have been so cute. And she would rather have an attitude, yeah. But yeah, no, I don't think she's the asshole for this. That was, the fact that she went to her sister-in-law, it pisses me off. Am I the asshole for defending my oldest daughter to my younger children? I have 3 children with my now deceased ex-husband. My oldest is in her 30s, okay, and my younger 2 are in their 20s. So everyone's an adult. When the kids were still under the age of 14, my ex and I divorced due to his cheating. Lovely. He also had his mistress pregnant. Oh, Jesus. My younger 2 remained close with their dad, and later with the 2 children he had with his mistress, though they never got close to her. Okay, so they got close to the kids, but not the mistress. While my oldest chose to end her relationship with her father, and the courts allowed this through allowing me full custody of her. Okay, so what I'm getting from that is that the oldest cut off contact and got full custody with the mum, so she never had to go visit her dad. And the other 2 had joint custody, so they went between the 2. And then the other 2 that the dad had with the mistress is just his. When my oldest was 20, so she was in her 20s, and the youngest 2 were somewhere in their teenage years. Their father passed away, and his mistress had a breakdown and ended up unable to care for her kids. Oh, that is actually really sad. She later died. My younger kids wanted me and their older sister to take their half siblings in. That is not her responsibility, but at the same time, they are children. I said no to them and told them I could not possibly do it. Their focus was mostly on their sister, who made it very clear she would not be doing anything for them and did not wish to meet them either, which she never has. My kids and I were all in therapy at this time, but the resentment still lingered in my younger 2 children, which I was not aware of because they had appeared to do much better, and of late they have been incredibly hostile to their sister. They told her they deserved to have a relationship with the halves, and the halves deserved to be with their family instead of being separated and adopted out individually. Oh. They blame their sister for their half-siblings wanting nothing to do with them today. Their argument is their sister was old enough to take them, but they weren't, and she punished the 4 of them in the process. This has caused a total breakdown in the relationship between my oldest and younger two, and my younger two wanted me on their side. However, I defended their sister by pointing out she was only 20 and in college and not likely to get accepted anyway, but also reminded them she had no relationship with their half-siblings and did not wish for one. I told them she was entitled to make her choice in her best interest. This led to them saying I could have and should have taken them too, that they try to have compassion for me because of the affair, but I seem so happy their half-siblings are out of their all their lives. They asked me how I can be okay with their sister abandoning family to a broken system, and how I can feel good about raising her that way. They also told me I'm taking her side by defending her, and because I said to them that they were allowed their own feelings but had to accept others would feel differently, which they said was me implying they were wrong and she was right. Their anger at me has intensified now. Am I the asshole? Personally, this is probably the most difficult one for this video, for me at least, because for one thing, you're not obligated to want a relationship with your half-siblings, especially if they're born out of an affair, because I don't want to say similarly, but it is in the same aspect of like if you got assaulted and were forced to carry through with having a baby. All you see is the culprit's face in that baby. Like I said, similarly, but not the same. But in this regard, all you would really see in those half-siblings is, oh yeah, you were born out of my dad cheating on my mum. That kind of thing. And that would just build resentment between the 20-year-old and those kids that aren't even hers and that she was forced into taking on when she had a full life to live herself. So again, on the one hand, I completely agree with the older sister in not wanting anything to do with any part of the cheating dad's family. But then on the other side, I do understand why the two younger siblings wanted them to come and live with them. But it's, unless the mistress or the dad had asked, like, hey, anything happens to us, can you take on the kids? And she says yes. If she then went and said no after they died, then she'd be the asshole. But like, they're not her kids. She's not obligated to take them on. And the two youngest are very guilt-trippy. But I think because they were joint custody, they didn't want to break off contact with their dad, so they continued to see him as the other kids grew up, and they built a relationship with the other two kids. They had something to lose in those kids not being taken on by the mum and the older sister. But it was very ignorant. They were kids themselves, because they're like a 10-year difference, maybe less than 10-year difference, but there is an age difference between the siblings, between the oldest and the youngest ones. If she was 20 when this happened, the younger two were more than likely like teenagers, and it was very ignorant, in my opinion, for them to just assume, well, you're an adult, you can take them on. Like, no, that's not my obligation. It is not my job. It is not my life to look after someone else's kids, especially when those children are born from a man I want nothing to do with. And then there's the two kids, though, the two half-siblings, because the foster and adoption thing, whoa, that lighting was really bad. They don't care about the kids. They don't actually try and look after the kids. A lot of abuse ends up happening, and they got adopted separately, so they're not even with each other anymore. That is really, really heartbreaking. But I still don't think it was the responsibility of the mum and the older sibling to deal with it. Like, they're not the godparents or anything like that. There's no obligation, and they had no relationship with them either. Not the asshole, and this is a pickle. Remind the younger, if you have compassion for me, that I did not want to raise the proof of my husband's infidelity. Exactly. The living embodiment of the cause of the breakdown of my marriage and family as I had known it. Recognize that your older sister felt very much the same. She felt abandoned by the father she had known her whole life, and replaced by the very children you wanted her to raise when she was still a child. They were never family to her. Even now you're choosing those children over her, which only serves to deepen the wounds she carried for all those years. How ironic that you do not blame your halves for wanting nothing to do with you, but you do blame your older for wanting nothing to do with them. You need to recognize that all of you are being incredibly selfish to what you wanted, to what you wish somebody else would have done. None of you are ever going to get that wish, and as long as you harbour ill will towards your older, who was a child herself and completely blameless, you will never have peace. Now you're the ones to make a choice. You can harbour blame, in which case you're guilty of exactly the same crime you accuse of others committing, or you can be the ones to break the cycle. How can you ever expect anyone else to respect your views and let go of their grudge when you do not respect theirs and you hold your grudge so very tightly? Her support of their older sister has made them turn on her too. At this point, they just want other people to blame. They don't want to blame the father who created the situation. They don't want to blame the mistress who fell apart after his death. They don't want to blame other adult family members who might have been able to take them in. Instead, they want to blame their mother, who their father cheated on, and their sister who felt abandoned by their father for the children they wanted her to take in. Oh, that's a good point. The younger kids are now in their 20s themselves and so older than their sister was at the time. Why aren't they working with social services to take custody of the half-siblings if it's all that easy to do? That is a good point, but at the same time, they did say that the half-siblings want nothing to do with them now. Which hopefully they get older and realise that wasn't their fault. And, use the brain. Sincerely, how financially illiterate are your two youngest? Have they ever had to independently fund themselves living independently? All of the emotional trauma of the situation aside, are they at this stage in their lives prepared and able to make sacrifices to adopt 2 kids each from the foster system? Are they able to juggle tending to complex needs, physical care of the kids, provide enough food for them, get them to school, give emotional care, pay medical bills? Basically, are they ready to become parents right then and there? No, they're hypocrites. Remind them their father did this. Their father destroyed 2 families twice by never putting measures in place to protect his youngest kids. Apparently, he didn't even consider that he or his wife might die. Exactly, no godparents, no one to actually look after the kids if something happened to them. That, once again, his selfishness meant children suffered. If they have unresolved issues with their dad, they can go to therapy to deal with it, but that you will no longer be tolerating their entitled BS anymore. You're still financially supporting them. I'd remind them of that fact, that you're not obligated to help them at this stage of life, and that you're only doing it because you love them, that like their father, there is a limit to what you'll forgive. They need to grow up. But yeah, no, you're not the asshole whatsoever. They're adults now. They need to grow up and put themselves in that position. And even if their answer is, yes, I would do that, good for you. That's what you would do. That's not what I would do. Am I the asshole for telling my wife I'm not going to eat ice cream every night anymore? From the title alone, no. You're not the asshole for that. So my wife is a big foodie and loves to indulge in a nice dessert every night and 2 times on the weekend. Think ice cream or cheesecakes. Luckily, she has always been able to maintain a very low body weight. Actually, she struggles to not be underweight. More on this later. Okay, I don't know why her body weight has anything to do with that. He said she's always been able to maintain a very low body weight, luckily. Okay, that felt a bit weird. We've had a habit of eating a dessert every night after dinner, and she really enjoys this time, but over the years I have gained about 10 to 15 kilograms. This has really caused me to have a lot of frustration with this habit of eating desserts, because when I refuse and say I don't want anything today, she guilt trips me into eating with her by saying this is her favorite time of the day because this is the only time she gets to enjoy eating. Huh? Okay, hang on. I can understand her point of view because she's had multiple problems with her digestive system and is usually very limited on the food she can eat. We have been to the doctor dozens of times over the years and no one can seem to find a diagnosis, but basically it's IBS. Gallbladder problems, acid reflux and other related problems. Okay, so just a lot of food related issues. Because she has had so many problems with her digestive system and has problems, I feel reluctant to bring up my feelings because I do think she needs to eat some calorie-rich food to maintain her weight, but also as an extra note, I am concerned the amount of sugary foods she eats is contributing to some of her digestive issues. It more than likely is, I'm not gonna lie. This past year, she had to get 4 teeth removed that were cracked and rotting out because of the sugar. I don't know. This one's a bit personal. For the past year, I have been working out more and trying to keep off the weight, but it hasn't really been working. So this evening I told her how I feel about eating desserts every night, and she tells me I'm acting like I have body dysmorphia. Ooh, okay, that's a bad comment to make, girly. And if I don't want to eat dessert with her, I can go out by myself tomorrow, and goes on talking about why it's better to live alone. I'm going to call her on her bluff. It feels really silly that this is the biggest issue in her marriage. I want to be in control of what I eat without having a fight every night. Am I the asshole? No, absolutely not. First of all, I still find it weird that he said luckily she can keep a low body weight, but I suppose he could have just meant that as like a I have no idea how she's able to do it, but no matter what she eats, she can't gain weight kind of thing. I don't understand why eating dessert every night is the only time she can enjoy eating. The fact that she has so many digestive issues, eating that much, like dessert every single night, and it might not seem like a lot to people, but especially if you're a big sweet tooth, and it also depends on the portions of dessert she eats, what it is exactly that she's eating. It is 100% playing a part in her digestive system. But yeah, in the past year she had 4 teeth removed that were cracked and rotting, possibly because of the sugar. I have really bad teeth. That is something I'm really insecure about. I don't have perfectly straight teeth. I have currently 2 cracked teeth, or 2 teeth with holes in them, because I didn't look after them. I currently only have 1 gap in my teeth, but this one up here, and more than likely the one down here that's currently cracked as well, because they're both cracked, will have to get pulled out because they're too far gone. So there'll be another gap in my teeth and another one down here as a gap in my teeth at 22. I am 22 years old and I am losing so many teeth. My teeth are very yellow. They're awful, because that's one of the parts of depression that people don't like talking about because it's gross. It's unhygienic. I went, I think, actual years not brushing my teeth. One, because I didn't build the habit. I didn't listen to my mum when I was really, really young to brush my teeth every night because I found it boring and I didn't like the cold water. Not thinking, like I'm 4 years old, not thinking like, oh, I can use hot water too. And then I started, like I was somewhere in the middle of primary school, which would make me 8 or so. And I don't care if people are like, you're too young to understand depression. That's when it started, because that's when my bullying got really bad. And then it just got severely worse in high school. And I just stopped brushing altogether. I would maybe do it like once every 7 months. It was really, really bad. And then I was always eating sugary foods, drinking sugary drinks. I get addicted to drinks very easily. I had a bit of a Suki addiction for a while. Then I had a Dr. Pepper one. I have a bit of a Capri Sun one. Like it's really bad. And I'm still trying to get back into a habit of brushing my teeth again because I went so long without doing it. They're awful. Like I keep trying to find for thumbnails and stuff, and even the way I record, I always try to keep the camera as far away from my face as possible, or use a picture of a thumbnail that doesn't have me smiling, because I'm embarrassed of my teeth. They're really, really, really bad, and it's incredibly unattractive. My boyfriend doesn't give a shit about, like, he doesn't care what my teeth look like, and I am very grateful for that, but it's embarrassing to me, and I know I can never fix it, because it's so far gone now that no matter how much I brush my teeth, they're done. They're completely done now. So the losing teeth thing is sort of that's more of a trigger topic for me, but it's both my own doing and depression. I didn't want to do, I didn't have the energy to do anything. I very rarely changed my bed sheets. I took forever to actually wear a new outfit. It's the same with underwear as well. And again, people don't want to talk about those things because, it's gross. How could you do that? And it's like, you're so depressed that you didn't change your underwear for like 7 days. People are so depressed that they kill themselves. And that's the one that makes you shocked? Seriously? You know? That kind of shit. But I don't know how that hasn't sent something off in her head, because I'm fully aware of my own part to play and how bad my teeth are, and the fact that I've lost so many of them. I've cried every single time I got a tooth out, because I've had 3 teeth out. 3 adult teeth out. To be fair, 2 of them were like extra teeth that had grown in. No, 3 of them were, because my mouth was just too small, so it didn't matter where they were going to grow in. I just didn't have enough room, because my wisdom teeth were all 4 of them were all growing in at the same time, but I got the extra teeth. So they were on like in the inside, 2 up here, and then I think 1 on this side, and I got those out, which that didn't do anything because that was just extra teeth. They didn't make gaps or anything. They were very sore though. So not including them, because they didn't change the look of my teeth at all. But like, I've had a lot of fillings done just because of how severe it is, primarily because of sugary stuff and not brushing my teeth. Every time one of them cracked, it like scared me, and I did try to pull back on my consumption of stuff. I don't like the comment of her being like, you're acting like you have body dysmorphia. He probably does, because the only reason he's eating the desserts every night now is because of you, and his body's looking like something he doesn't recognize anymore. That is body dysmorphia. You're seeing your body in a different way than everyone else does, or in this case, the way your wife does. And then her being all petty, saying it's better to be alone when you can go out by yourself if you don't want to eat dessert with me. It's dessert. Bitch, shut up. You want to lose all your teeth? Go ahead. That is on you. Same way it's on me if I lose all mine now, because I am still trying to get back into a habit of consistently doing it, and I'm not doing too well, but I am trying to get there. You want to do all that and make your digestive system 10 times worse? Go right ahead. That is not your husband's responsibility. It is also not an obligation to have dessert after every meal or after every dinner. You want to do it? Go ahead. That's like going out with your friends to a bar with one of your friends who doesn't like alcohol and never drinks alcohol, and then you guilting them into trying to have alcohol because you're not fun. That's peer pressure and that's guilt tripping. It's not healthy. It's not good at all. You're not the asshole. I want to see what the comments say on this, because that is such a dumb fight. That is so stupid. I really need to pee. Not the asshole. She is trying to make her issues with food and body your issues, which is concerning. That is true. Try again when you're both calm. Tell her you respect her health and her dietary needs and support her and are hurt that she can't do the same for you. Be sure to tell her it's one of your favourite times of day too, but it's not about the food. You can have coffee or a beer or whatever or nothing. You just like this little daily date and look forward to it. Yeah, that's fine. You don't have to have dessert. If you remain calm and reiterate these simple points, hopefully she'll see how ridiculous she's being. If not, she needs some kind of counselling, because frankly, this is nuts. My body, my choice applies to everyone. I politely disagree with your comment. I'm afraid him agreeing to eat something else enables her belief that she can control what he eats. That's a fair point as well. I almost always choose compromise or peace, but this feels like an important thing that she needs to respect. She's not just unreasonable, she's mentally unwell. Right off the bat, eating so much dessert that your teeth rot is not normal. Then how defensive she gets about her habit and how she lashes out at OP for not wanting to indulge as much as she does. There's some serious issues running beneath the surface with this one. The IBS, gallbladder problems, acid reflux and other related problems is your body trying to tell you to stop. Let her have her own calorific binge, just say no. By the way, she's not being a foodie, she's got a sweet tooth. She's not seeing the results now, but the fat will be building up around her heart and liver. Okay, I know this is a separate issue, but has she been to a doctor and actually shared her diet of daily dessert with them? If she has gallbladder problems, the fats in her desserts are likely contributing to the IBS. As the gallbladder stores and releases bile to break down fats in the digestive system, she has gallbladder disease. They also specifically recommend against a high-fat diet to allow the gallbladder time to heal. I had to have mine removed after rapid weight loss, and 2 days in a row of bad choices like burgers and pizza will give me painful cramps and watery shits. Yeah, we have talked with the doctors and she was very close to getting her gallbladder removed. Oh god. For about a month or so she stuck to the low-fat diet. She's eliminated red meats from her diet, but the desserts stuck. I've told her to tell the doctors about the dessert habit, and she said the doctor said it was fine to have one dessert like that. We live in Korea and you basically get 30 seconds to talk to the doctors before you're sent away if you go to the top university hospitals. Not the asshole. Alright, I'm just gonna finish this up quickly because I really need to pee. Most of today's was just wedding stuff, but that last one it really takes the cake. Yeah, no, that's definitely a projection based one. But yeah, hopefully, well, this won't come out until I've edited and posted my previous videos that I really need to fucking edit because I recorded them months ago. I hope you enjoyed. This won't be a consistent thing on my channel, but it'll just be a random video every now and again that I feel like doing. I think I'm also going to do some D&D horror stories because I find them so fascinating. I think I'll just have this as like under a series name for Reddit, but I don't know what to call it. R&R kind of thing. Reddit raving. But anyways, I hope you enjoyed. Give it a like if you liked it, give it a dislike if you didn't, comment whatever you want down in the description, subscribe if you want to see more content. If you want to be updated on that content, hit the little subscribe button, it should update you. But yeah, I hope you have a good day and take care of yourself and take care of the pack while I'm away. Bye!